Lecture is going to review Chapter 1 to help you prepare for your first quiz. So first, of course, we need to know the essential features, those essential characteristics of each of the word classes. So the first word class we discussed were nouns, and we've been using this word inflect. And so inflect essentially just means to change. So nouns change, nouns inflect to show plurality. What I mean by plurality is just to be more than one. So nouns inflect to show when an item is singular, right? We have desk or chair, but the inflection comes with the plural, desks and chairs. So we said there are 4 types of nouns: common nouns, proper nouns, count nouns, and non-count nouns. So non-count nouns are nouns that we generally do not count. We don't say, I have 6 homeworks. We don't say, I need 10 informations, right? We think of information, homework, milk, sugar, air, water as non-count. When speaking about verbs, they also inflect, but they inflect to show agreement between the subject and the verb. So when we have the first person singular, I run, there is no inflection. Second person singular, you run, there's no inflection. But in the third person, we have inflection for tense, she runs. We also have inflection for past tense. So I study, I studied last night. So we have inflection for agreement and inflection to show time. So verbs show tense. Of course, no other word class item shows tense, but verbs are what help us know when something is taking place, whether that is in the present, the past, or the future. So while tense shows specific moments in time, aspect shows relationships in time. So when I say, I have lived in Corpus Christi for 1 year, have lived is a bit different because it's showing an event that started in the past but continues to the present. And then we spoke briefly about past participles and present participles. Certainly this is terminology you need to know, and this is terminology and concepts that we'll discuss further in other chapters. Adjectives modify nouns. That is their job, to modify nouns. They describe, they identify, they explain, but always in reference to nouns. So windy day, rainy day, powerful coffee, strong tea, all of those are adjectives modifying nouns. We said they have a comparative and a superlative form, and other items do not have this, right? So we can be tall, taller, tallest, beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful, right? We do not do that with nouns. We do not do that with verbs. The 4th word class we discussed were adverbs, and adverbs often end in ly. Adverbs have 3 functions. So adverbs do more than other word classes. Some people call adverbs the garbage bag of the word classes because they'll just they take on anything really. So adverbs modify verbs, adverbs modify other adverbs, and adverbs modify adjectives. We also talked about pronouns, and pronouns replace nouns and noun phrases. When identifying the subject, when identifying a noun phrase, it is useful to use the pronoun substitution test, because if you can substitute a pronoun for that word or words, then that item must be a noun or noun phrase. Prepositions are always followed by a noun, right? So we have in the car, in the park, in the building, in my apartment. So we always have preposition plus there's an optional adjective plus a required noun in that position. And prepositions display relationships in time and space. So before class, after class, during class, those are all time relationships. And then we spoke about the car, on the car, in the car, under the car. All of those are location relationships. We also talked about conjunctions and the acronym fanboys. So the conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. These join clauses or parts of sentences. And we also talked about correlative conjunctions that work in pairs, such as both and, either or, neither nor. So I wanted to go through the chapter review with you and talk about these in a bit of detail to help you along. So in number 6, which is the first item that doesn't have an answer in the back of the book, we have human contact. So human contact, what kind of contact is it? Remember that adjectives, their primary job is to answer what kind. So what kind of contact? Is this good contact, bad contact, happy contact? No, it is human contact, right? We can also do that substitution test and substitute a word that we know is an adjective. So let's take good. We know good is an adjective. No good contact, that would work. Has to be an adjective. Same with no. No is limiting our amount of language. So we could have some human language, the human language, a human language. But if you took an adverb, quickly, you can't put an adverb in that position. You can't put a noun, Robert, human language. You can only put an adjective in that slot. With number 7, feral children, again, we're asking, well, what kind of children? Are they loud? Are they happy? Are they angry? Are they upset? No, they are feral. So again, we have an adjective, provide evidence. So remember the noun test. We have the test, the pronoun substitution test, and the plural test. Feral children provide it. Evidence can be replaced by a pronoun. Therefore, it must be a noun. Number 8, Jeannie is an American example. Again, what kind of example? American. So again, it's performing that essential adjective task of answering what kind. A child. Recall that a, and, the are always adjectives. She was not only locked in a room, but also punished. So we have the correlative conjunctions. And then with any noises, let's again do the substitution. So when you arrive on this item during the quiz or on the worksheet and you think, well, what is any? And you're not certain, then take a word that you know must be an adjective, that must be an adverb, that must be a pronoun, and substitute. So making the noises, making loud noises, making angry noises, those are all adjectives. We know those are adjectives. So therefore, by that substitution test, we know that any is also an adjective. So in number 10, we have since birth. Here we have the relationship in time. Again, you could do the substitution test if you were not certain what since is. In a dark room, in birth, on birth. Yes, it may sound a little awkward, but it certainly sounds better than placing a noun in a dark room. Robert birth. No, that doesn't work. So we have a preposition of time, and we've discussed that prepositions must be followed by a noun. So birth is a noun. During in number 11. During again is this time relationship during the day. So during is a preposition. Caged is a verb. Notice the ed inflection. Only verbs have that ed inflection to show when an event happens. So caged is a verb. About language acquisition. About, again, that's a preposition. You could substitute to gain insight in language acquisition. That would work. So about, preposition. Socialization. Well, what kind of processes? So socialization is an adjective describing processes. In 13, we have quickly. So quickly is describing the verb learned. How did this happen? Quickly. In what manner did this happen? Quickly. So that's answering an adverb question. Never. Never, sometimes, always, those are adverbs. Received grants, again, we have the ed. Only verbs are marked with the ed, so that must be a verb. Studies, so their studies, my studies, your studies. So studies here, it is the plural. It has the es to show the plurality, so that must be a noun. The in 15, the, always, 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 the is an adjective. Wow is an interjection, but you will not have interjections on your quiz. So this is the essential task of your quiz. This is the bulk of what you will be doing, is taking sentences and identifying what the underlined word in the sentence is, what word class it belongs to. So you can see in the top right part of the screen that I have added this substitution test, right? And you can use this. So a noun, I always know that Robert is a noun. Eat, always a verb. Adjectives, happy and the. Adverb, very and quickly, always adverbs. So when you are uncertain what word class a word belongs to, you should apply a substitution. So in 6, Jeannie, Jeannie learned vocabulary quickly. So Jeannie could be replaced by a pronoun, she. If you go from my substitution list, you could say Robert learned. All right, so Jeannie is a noun. Learned, we have the ed. It's the past tense verb, so that's a verb. Vocabulary, Jeannie learned it. So vocabulary can be replaced by a pronoun, so it must be a noun. Quickly, how did she learn it? Quickly, so quickly is an adverb. But is a conjunction. She, pronoun. Never, as we've said, never, always, sometimes, those are always adverbs. Grasped, we have the ed, must be a verb. Word order, order is the noun. What kind of order? Word order, so we have adjective and noun. In number 7, Broca was both a brilliant man and a misogynist. So Broca we could replace with Robert, must be a noun. Was is a verb. Both, remember both and, those are correlative conjunctions. Is always an adjective. Brilliant, well, what kind of man is he? A brilliant man, must be an adjective. Man is a noun, and conjunction. Again, always an adjective, and is always going to be followed by a noun. So misogynist is a noun. So one more, researchers have not agreed on the exact time of the critical period. So researchers can be replaced by the pronoun, must be a noun. Have agreed is the verb, not is an adverb there. On is a preposition, the adjective, exact adjective, what time? The exact time. So on the exact time is a prepositional phrase. Of is a preposition, the adjective. Which period? The critical period. So critical, also adjective, and then period is a noun. So I hope this is beginning to make sense to you. I hope the handouts will give you further practice and help you feel comfortable with this topic before we begin the quiz. You should certainly do exercise 1.17 in the book and review that section, as well as those first few slides from this mini lecture, so that you recall the key features of the word classes. That's all. Hello, so this mini